Alright. I gotta get some of these decks off my desk. So we're gonna take an opportunity for some of these that won't get a full flip through to talk about AI heavy decks and counterfeits. I don't take, and I'm not necessarily interested in taking a moral standpoint on the concept of AI or counterfeits. My approach here is 1000% about practicality. At the end of the day, that's what my practice is about too, is because one person will moralize one way and another will another way. But like, is it helping people? Like, myself, the part of the process that I own is someone's at the table asking me a question, asking for reassurance, asking for insight. How do I get them from confusion, anxiety, insight, problems to less of that, to balance and power? And there are some pretty strong reasons why you might or why you might not want to involve AI heavy and or counterfeit decks in that process. The first thing that I want to talk about is what, for legal purposes, on the left, I will say is a deck of dubious origin, and what I will say on the right here is most likely the genuine article. I haven't gotten either of these hand delivered from Amrit Brar themselves, and now I've delivered it to the floor. It's the fourth take I've done on this, trying to get it right, and I think the cards are just mad at me. But anyway, take that as a sign from the universe to loosen up. Point on this being, I had gotten this one because I firmly believe that if a deck is mass market, which I realize this wasn't, but just to get the thesis out there, if a deck is mass market, if you're a giant publishing house selling these things on Amazon, and it's coming off the sweat factory workers overseas and then factory workers in your domestic situation, we're already in such ethically and morally dubious territory there that me cutting the chain and making sure it's just a slow boat directly over and some rando with a printing press isn't really much worse, and if anything is probably less exploitative than doing the air quotes proper way. And I will say that in all circumstances, these decks that I've purchased were not represented as fakes. But I do have a lot of doubts. If you're trying to spot that kind of thing, you know, you look at this box, it's just a tuck box, versus this one, which is a proper two-piece box. I've got the cards sitting up in it, obviously this way, but it's a proper two-piece box that clamshells over itself. And this one comes with proper gilding, actually in the cards and in the box, and a proper guidebook. This one, oh, and let me forget to mention, the cards have a black edge finish on them and feel like a proper playing card, versus these have no edge finish whatsoever and feel like a cereal box prize. The only thing you get like a guidebook is this one that says there's no guidebook, and this is supposed to be a replacement card. In other words, we printed this just so we have a note to show you that we didn't forget to put a guidebook in here. Even look at the colors. These actually have like a true black on them, versus here it's just a dark gray. And I got this because I thought that this was another one of those mass market decks where I didn't care about if I cut the supply chain. Turns out it's not. Amrit Brar self-publishes all these. And selfishly, I want their ecosystem to keep running. I want them to make money off of this, because this whole thing, like, there's some genuine art put in. You know, Ace of Cups here, the fact that they've thought through and not only established this style and motif, but they have a skull with the pomegranate head in it, talking about beginnings, this idea of fertility, very much positive symbology there. And, you know, they've woven the marigolds and the different types of flowers all through. Just, this deck, you can chew on a concept and it will elevate your practice. Versus, if you grab something like this, like, sure, Page of Pentacles, Young Energy, Pentacles, but also, if you got anyone who knows how to spot AI art, you'll look around here and go, oh, hey, that's artifacting. That's not going to keep you in the mode of going, hey, what do I need to know about my spiritual life? So those are the two reasons that I will gladly skip the vertical integration in the supply chain. To me, a welcomeness to counterfeit a corporate product, whether that's the corporatocracy injecting itself in the form of AI-driven art, or in the form of just the corporate machine. Here's another thing. Like, I'm trying to find one of the ones of these that was better. Now and again, even in these AI-driven decks, I'll find something that makes me go, Like this one, yeah, here you are. They took the Hanged Man and rendered it as the Suspended One. I like this so much better. There's less of a negative connotation, and it kind of brings out the aspects of martyrdom, or the aspects of being still, or forcing yourself to be stuck for a period of time in order to develop. The conceptualization and the fact that we've peeled back the gendered archetype is outstanding. Problem is, you know, there's so many like collaged together AI backgrounds in these, I'm pretty sure these count as effectively public domain. This one, I think, is probably a genuine used deck based on the quality and the cards elsewhere. But also, you know, does this concept really belong to him? I would not have that much of a second thought grabbing one of these that I didn't like the edge gilding on, if you catch my drift. I would, and I obviously did, for these, because as soon as I realized that this wasn't mass market and the temple I was encroaching by cutting through that supply chain, I went out and I made sure that I supported the actual artist. I hope that illuminates some reasons that you might want to do one thing or the other here. I don't, you know, these are in the ecosystem, and you're always going to have people going around and knocking off proper products. But frankly, the sin is its own punishment here, because your experience using the proper one versus not is going to be categorically different. I'll probably still find some use for these. Maybe I'll make a deck entirely of dupes and problem children. Try and see if I can get the most pessimistic answers ever. But the nice thing is, if I ever want to use these as, I don't know, tests, art mock-ups, or spell symbology in which they might be consumed or damaged, these I don't care. This I do. That also makes them worse as far as an ingredient. I think I've rambled enough. I think I've made my position clear. Balance and power.